Okay, welcome back to more Vintage on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be playing some coveted Jewel combo shops. And this deck's namesake card, Coveted Jewel, is kind of a strange one. So 6-mana artifact. When it enters, draw 3 cards, and you can add 3 mana with it. So the drawback is when your opponent attacks and the creatures are on block, they get control of this. And draw 3 cards. So this can backfire, and I hope we don't get to see that today, but that can definitely happen. The plan is to kind of spiral the game out of control with Coveted Jewel, copying it with Metamorph, bouncing it with Paradoxical Outcome, drawing a lot of cards, and then setting up Time Bolt combo for the win. The deck has Urza Saga as plan B, and it has a card like the One Ring as, you know, just good 4-mana play. That card can definitely just run away with the game by itself. Then it plays basically all the acceleration in the world, including Ancient Tomb and Mistress Workshop in the mana base, some restricted cards like Tinker Ancestral, a little bit of protection and Force of Will, and yeah, we basically try and say, I'm stronger than you, to the opponent's decks. In the sideboard, I hedge a little bit against other fast combo, pesky creatures like Collector Oof. Wormcoil Engine is a cool one. Wormcoil is good when the opponent does not have exile removal. So whether that's against blue-black, or it's against Sultai, or it's against various Bizarre decks, this card is pretty cool. It can not get Force Negated either, so you can kind of play a little bit around against your opponent's Disruption Suite. Then we have a couple of Argentum Masticore. So this card looks terrible on surface. 5 mana 5/5, first strike, protection for multicolored, and you have to discard a card on each upkeep. And then you can destroy a permanent, non-land permanent, that if that card is cheaper than what you discarded. So basically, this Masticore is good against stuff like Initiative. It can kill Null Rods. It can kill creatures. Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out for this one, because you also need like kind of an expensive card in hand to make this even good. But yeah, let's see. I think it'll be good. Then have a couple of defense grids against decks with 8 forces. That could be like Countervine or various Lurrus decks. Then I have a couple of needles mainly for Bizarre and Wasteland, and then a couple of cages for Split, Dredge, and Oath Hate. Yeah, and that's gonna be it for the deck tech. Let's see if we can broken out some players. Don't go anywhere. Okay, here we are on the draw. I'm playing Coveted Jewel. Lost a die roll. I have a turn 1, the One Ring. Can't pass that up. Let's see, what can I do? I can go land, Mox, walk. Or I can just go straight to land, Mox, Monolith, Opal, the One Ring, and then I keep my Time Walk for you know, getting more cards off the ring. Maybe that's better. The upside to Time Walk right away would be I dig 1 deeper for Force of Will backup. I have this blue card. Okay, the opponent's on Dredge. The thing about Dredge is they're going to keep any hand with Bizarre. So it's kind of up to chance if they have a Force. But I'm not going to play around Force. I'm just going to play my One Ring out turn 1. This is mainly a racing matchup. Hollow 1. So ironically, I would rather have my opponent play second Hollow 1 than have the Force of Will left in hand. So let's see. Monolith. I'll try and play the One Ring. Kind of hate the pause my opponent is doing. Seems like they're considering Force Negation at any... Yeah. They sure were. Huh. So now the opponent can start dredging. Guess they didn't. So I could chilled once. Opponent activates Bizarre. Okay, and then I get hit for 4. Okay, so I have a little more time here. But it's not ideal. Hollow one hits me for 4. Galarian Academy. Okay. So let's see. If I play Galarian Academy, can I then Seagate Restoration? 3 mana. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. 3. No, and then it's only 6. Huh. So I might need to Time Walk, untap Monolith. Maybe that's better. Time Walk, untap, then draw 3. Let's see. 3, 6, 7. Cast. Draw 3. 7 mana, draw 3, baby. I'm gonna get hit to 9. The opponent has no Icarus, which is kind of nice. Let's probe for mana. Oh. Very bad. Very, very, very bad. S. Okay, so I need to draw a piece of action next turn. Outcome, Tinker, Duel, all of that stuff. The opponent gets back. Yeah, I'm dead next turn. Okay, so I need to kill my opponent, and they cannot hit 3 chills here. If they hit 3 chills, I'm dead. And I need to draw something very, very sick. Opponent activates Bazaar. Let's see. 1 chill gone. Don't triple chill me, baby. Okay, no triple chill. The One Ring. Oh boy. Okay, that's pretty awesome. So let's see, what do I tap here? Probably just go ahead and tap these. Play One Ring, get protection, draw, Tinker. You don't say. The thing about Tinker is... Now let's see. I kind of have to do a Creeping Chill count. Oh, that's perfect. There's 1 Creeping Chill in the yard that the opponent had to discard. 1 in exile, so only 2 left. Okay, so I think the move is to develop this Monolith. And then I try and win next turn because I have protection from Tinker. Protection from the One Ring. There's no reason for me to, like, Tinker into a Jewel and then... Oh, I missed. The opponent takes the Jewel, this and that. Like, there's no reason to do that. Now I have protection, and I draw 2 off the ring. Then I can go get a Jewel and draw my deck, most likely. So I'm kind of trying to minimize the fail rate here. Also, funnily enough, if the opponent stretches too far, having Jewels in play is a lock. Like, then when the opponent attacks and they're unblocked, they have to draw the cards. Double chill, I'm down to 3. Well, this is protection. Yeah, not quite sure what the opponent's doing here. Now they're down to 2 and can't beat... and just can't beat a Jewel. The Jewel will deck them here. Lots of guys coming back here. I go to 8. Draw. Okay, now we can just set up turns and not worry about stuff. I think I like that. Pop. Tinker. Let's go for the Manifold Key. Let's play Time Vault. Untap the Time Vault. And then I'll just play a One Ring so I don't die. Let's see. The opponent gets more creatures back. Untap. Yeah, this is kind of the boring part. If the opponent's going to make me play this out, I'm just going to stop the video. It's not really helpful. Okay. Yeah, so we kind of had to draw something there, and yeah, the One Ring was the perfect card. Okay, against that deck, I have 8 cards I would consider good. Let's see if I can find 8 cards I consider bad. So I can cut 1 Jewel. I can cut all forces. Karn is bad. Card like Sensei's Divining Top is not the best. That's 7. Let's see if we can find number 8. Let's see if we can find card number 8 that isn't the best. Grim Monolith, maybe. How does this look? I think it looks... maybe Detection Probe, actually. Yeah, Detection Probe is basically only in the deck to help the blue count. The blue count is criminally low in the stock lists. So I've added 1 Seagate Restoration, 1 Probe. But yeah. Let's see. Sometimes the best strategy is to just outbroken the Dredge deck. But we have a lot of answers in the sideboard. So let's see if the combination of the two is any good. The Dredge deck will most likely upgrade with something like Force of Vigor, potentially Wasteland. Okay, so I have a Needle for Bizarre, and then I have a Coveted Jewel to try and win. The danger is the opponent putting like Hollow Ones onto the table, and then just, you know, having a counter in hand and laughing at my plan. The upside is my hand is pretty good. I can get Wastelanded once. That doesn't matter too much. My opponent has to force the Needle. Higher likelihood my Jewel gets there, etc., etc. So, yeah. Definitely just a solid hand. It'll lose to the best hands out of Dredge. It will beat the weak ones, and it will have great game against the medium ones. Okay, 1 Dredger to the yard, Hollow One hits the table, and then we get griefed. Yeah. This can be a problem. Let's see what the opponent goes for. Or action or disruption. Opponent took away Needle. Interesting. I draw Seagate Restoration, which isn't very exciting. I think I'm just supposed to develop my mana here. I'm not going to tap out for Jewel. I think that's just irresponsible. Let's see if we get Vigored here. That would be a disaster. We don't get Vigored. Let's see here. The opponent can Dredge 5 or natural draw. So no natural draw. Am I getting attacked down to 13? Yeah, on my turn, I'm definitely gonna go for it this time. Let's see. Dredge, 1 Icarid, 1 Narcomoeba. Let's see. Yeah, now I lose to 2 chills. If I pass the turn, that is. So yeah, let's not do that. Wow, Worm Coil Engine. Is that better? I could actually see Worm Coil Engine being better. Let's play that. And then we kind of wait one more turn. Wow. Okay, Force of Will. Yeah, that's super tough. Now I lose to Double Chill, but I'm not... I think it's better to wait a turn and have way more mana available with Jewel rather than try and win on the spot from being tapped out. But yeah, who knows? Don't chill me, baby. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we live to see another day. We actually get to Jewel. Let's see. Let's see if that pays off, having a million mana here with Jewel. I don't have to draw much to just win, right? Seagate Restoration. I mean, that just might be enough. Jewel, draw. So now what I can do is go Seagate Restoration for the second game in a row, funnily enough. Draw a ton of cards. The One Ring. The problem about the One Ring is I still lose to Creeping Chill on the... Let's say the opponent does not dredge and they look for it on my next turn. But I can't do anything about that, I think. My hand is... Yeah, I can't do anything about that. So I can go... Workshop, Ring, one floating. I should probably draw here and see if I hit the nuts. That is... Somebody would argue that's the nuts. So let's see here. What can we do? What kind of awesome things can we do here? So we can play that. I can play Soul Ring. I can play Monolith. The thing is, if I go Metamorph, Coveted Jewel, and I fail, the opponent gets infinite cards. But right now, how many chills are gone? 1, 2... 2 chills gone. My opponent's just gonna kill me next turn, I feel like. But right now, I'm basically banking on my opponent not realizing how to kill me with chill, like on my next turn when the protection is gone. I really hate that. But the thing is, my opponent is getting one jewel anyway. Oh, this is so tough. Cage. Opal. Pass. Let's see. I'm pretty scared my opponent just, easily figures it out and I'm dead, but let's see. Let's see. Yeah, that wasn't ideal, drawing like 9 cards and having to pass the turn. Usually the deck can finish the game on the spot, but when you have to pass the turn, it rarely ends well, I would say. So I have a cage in play. Maybe that was my first mistake. I was not supposed to give my opponent a reason to natural draw. I was supposed to give my opponent a reason to dredge, right? Oh, I have to untap that card. Okay. I didn't think about that. So let's see. Untap. The opponent did not attack, did not take the jewel, which is a big mistake. So let's draw. Yeah. Okay, so my opponent's gonna chill me out here. That's fine. Then I can get a peek at my opponent's full setup after sideboard. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was a tough one, but opponent had 7 cards with Grief and Force of Will, so maybe we can't be that unhappy. That's just a great hand, right? Okay, game 3. Ooh. 2 decks doing their thing so far. I really thought that Wormcoil Engine was the end of my opponent, but Force of Will was the card. Let's see if we can go just land Mox, Defense Grid, and then just win in peace. Yeah, the Coveted Jewels spawning a tier 1 vintage deck. I don't think a lot of people saw that coming. Like when you just look at random commander expansion, it's like, oh sure, 6 mana Black Lotus and Ancestral Recall. It doesn't sound very, very good, right? But the context of Mishra's Workshop, powering it out, you could bounce it to Paradoxical Outcome, you can copy it with Phyrexian Metamorph, all of that stuff kind of adds up, right? All right, we're on the play for game 3. I like that a lot. Huh. Here's the defense grid I asked about. There's also Urza Saga. This is going to be pretty weak to Force of Vigor if I go for Saga. But I think that's what I'm supposed to do. Urza Saga. Pearl. Defense Grid. Hope to not get Vigored. I don't get Vigored. Okay. So the good thing about having Defense Grid in play is all Vigors and Force of Wills, Force of Negations are dead. I'm basically only worried about... the only disruption I'm worried about is Grief at this point. And I guess something like Chalice of the Void for 0 is also annoying at you know, different stages of the game. Let's see if we get griefed. We don't get griefed, and I draw a Wormcoil Engine. I'm probably supposed to play that Wormcoil Engine out. So let's see. Wormcoil Engine. Oh, I guess I'm missing out on Construct as well, but maybe that's okay. Let's see. Opponent dredges, but it's not scary at all. The thing is, I can go get Grafdigger's Cage off the Saga activation. If my opponent does not have a Wasteland, I think they're dead. Hollow one, sure. Yeah, now I think I just go get Cage and it's over. Because now nothing can come back from the yard, and my opponent can't cast any cards. So yeah, I think my opponent's just dead here. Icarid can't come back. The opponent does have access to 4 Creeping Chills, but I think the Wormcoil races that pretty handily. Let's say my opponent dredges 4 creeping chills. Then I'm at 14. Yeah, I'm in great shape here. The opponent's going for it. Still dredging away. So I guess some combination of all the chills and some maybe Noxious Revival or something can do it. But I'm not sure. 1 chill gone. Nothing comes back. Oh, I even draw that? Okay, that's awesome. The Manifold Key will make it so that I can attack with Wormcoil and then untap it, which is kind of funny. Let's see. I'm going to give my opponent the chance to miss that interaction. There's another chill. I'm down to 18. The opponent goes to 14. Yeah. Sometimes when you haven't been playing Magic for a while, stuff like this will happen. Yeah, that's just good games. Okay, so we got to overpower Dredge twice. I really the turn 1 Saga Mox defense grid. If my opponent had a Force of Vigor there, they Force of Vigor my Saga and my Mox. And then it's going to be a tough game, but yeah, we managed to dodge that. And sail towards the sunset. So yeah, we got the first match. Let's see if we can win the next one as well. Don't go anywhere. Okay, more vintage action here. I'm playing Coveted Jewel, and I have a very action-packed opener. I have turn 1 Jewel and Time Vault Key combo. Huh. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. Yeah, this is just Haymaker after Haymaker. So we get crushed by stuff like Lavinia, Chalice, Sphere Effect. Oh, okay. Interesting. Metamorph, very strong card. Let's see what the opponent thinks about this. Mana Crypt resolves. Sapphire. Opal. I'm gonna quote-unquote bait with the Jewel. Then I'm gonna have Time Vault combo for next turn. The opponent forces down to 2 cards by the looks of things. Force Pitch Oko. Okay. Force Pitch Oko. So the opponent is most likely Oath. Wasteland is not gonna hurt me with my new plan here. Lost the flip. That happens. Nice Ursa Saga. I'm gonna actually. Oof, I was about to not play around Spell Pierce there, which is something they could play. So Time Vault. Yeah, it was just absurd. So turn 1 Jewel is a must counter. Turn 2 win the game. And if my opponent can deal with that, I even have like a Saga developing. Next turn I can like make a token, copy the token, have infinite power. That was amazing. Okay, Oko with Mox Pearl. Maybe it's some kind of fair deck, actually. I want to have the creatures. And Wasteland. I don't think Oath will play Wasteland. So let's try and cut Sphere on the draw, cut forces because this deck isn't the best Force of Will deck, and if the opponent's not doing anything broken, I think I like that. I have to cut 2 more cards. Detection Probe is a pretty easy cut. Then the question becomes if I just cut 1 more, I can just trim the 1 ring. When I bring in Wormcoil and Masticores, I think that's reasonable. How does Masticore work with Seagate Restoration? At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Masticore unless you discard a card. When you discard a card this way, destroy target non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to the mana value of the discarded card. Okay, so this is mana value 7. I wonder what happens if I discard a land. Can I discard a land to kill a Mox? Let me know. I don't know. I'll be happy to try it at some point, but if that situation does not come, then yeah, I want to know. The thing about that deck must play like Collector Oof as well. Collector Oof. Card is just so strong. So do a little bit of trimming. Yeah, I don't know about this. Right now, I'm basically speculating my opponent is like Bant, Lavinia, Oof, etc. But I don't really know, to be honest. Oh boy. This hand has turn 1, the One Ring, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to Defense Grid, I guess. Okay, we're going to keep this. I really hope to draw land, because this is really not ideal. Also, if I get my Mana Crypt Spell Pierce, it's just over. Mox Opal. Yeah, not the best. Let's see. I'll go Defense Grid. I'm very curious to see what the opponent does here. So Defense Grid, the theory behind that card is it's either Hymn to Tourach, like get rid of force in a blue card, or it's gonna like just protect me and win me the game later. Wow. Okay. So well, this is not ideal, but it's still like pretty good showcase of how good this card is. The opponent had to Force of Vigor 1 card. I guess I played this out because of Lavinia, but it's not ideal. We don't have Metalcraft because I decided to not develop the Mana Vault. Oh, it is Oath. Okay, Oath with Wasteland. Yeah, now I look kind of silly with the way I sideboarded. So funny thing is here, if I draw Mana Source, which I did, I can do some cool things here. I can go that card, Mana Vault. Then I can go the One Ring. The One Ring has this protection text on it, right? And Oath of Druids has to target me, which means I kind of time walked against that oath. Let's see if we can capitalize on that. We do need to find a few mana sources for the paradoxical outcome to be good. Now the opponent has 3 mana, which is scary. Another oath. That's fine. Let's see. I take a bit of damage here. Okay, that's one of my mana sources. Let's draw one more. Okay, this is sick. 1, 2, 3, 4. So my opponent has 2 cards. They played an oath. So I don't think my opponent has interaction. 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll draw 6 cards. I'll start playing out my stuff again. So this One Ring will protect me once more. What I can choose to do is, this is actually dirty, so I can go Defense Grid, Workshop, the One Ring, buy more time, then win next turn. I just noticed I have a Tolarian Academy in hand. How do I win this game the most efficient way? Maybe it's something to do with Tolarian Academy and Seagate Restoration. What happens if I go Defense Grid? Maybe I just set up for next turn. Okay, I'll try setting up for next turn. Defense Grid. Let's see. Workshop. The One Ring. Still have protection. I can go discard these embarrassing Wormcoil engines. I don't think that card does anything. Yeah, let's just discard that. I think that's fine. So basically my plan is to buy more time, make my fail rate, smaller, and then just, do it to the opponent this turn. Untap with 1,000,000 mana. Take 1 from the ring. Draw 2. This is so absurd. This is so absurd. So let's see. Mana Vault. For Monolith. I guess Needle is free. Needle. Naming Oko. Maybe I'm supposed to also go... Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. So maybe it's good to go... Monolith. Bunch of mana. Cast. Try and draw 6 cards. If this gets countered, opponent has 0 cards in hand. I can play the One Ring for more protection. I can play Ancestral Recall, draw 3. Yeah, this is just a matter of time, I feel like. The opponent Force of Wills. Ancestral Recall. That's fine. So now I drew Paradoxical Outcome, and this just becomes absurd. Yeah. Outcome 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I like drawing 9 cards. Ooh. Yeah. Game over. Oh, okay. Yeah. This was pretty brutal. I sideboarded because I saw Wasteland. I sideboarded for a complete different deck. My opponent played Oath, but the One Ring came through clutch. The fact that you gain protection and Oath of Druids has to target the opponent, it doesn't just check for any opponent. You have to target the opponent. So that's like just time box in a box. And that's actually why I dislike Oath. Or used to do, at least, when the One Ring saw a lot of play. If you play against a lot of One Rings, Oath is it's just so demoralizing. Like, you had Orchard Oath. You were ready to go get Atraxa, draw 5 or 6 cards, lock down the game, but that just wasn't possible. Okay, so poor sideboarding, but insane deck power got us the second win. Let's see if we can get one more before we close out the show. Don't go anywhere. All right, round 3 of my journey to destroy people with Coveted Jewel and Vintage. We lost a die roll. The opponent took a single mulligan, and we're looking at this hand. This hand has double force. Sometimes in Vintage, making sure you don't lose is the same as winning. In the sense that, well, this hand is not very impressive, but if we can make our opponent's hand equally not very impressive by interacting, that could even the playing field. So yeah, we hope we don't play against like bizarre strategy, because then our hand is just, oh boy. Okay, yeah, then our hand is not very impressive. But let's see what kind of bizarre we're up against. Dredge is on a heavy uptick here. I'm not going to take all the credit, but I did do well. I think I had like 9th place, 8th place, 2nd place, 3 challenges in a row. Like, that's pretty decent. Here I'm going to force pitching Force, because I'm not going to play around my opponent having more counter magic, and I think I need all of these cards to win the game, both the Outcome and the Metamorph. I hate this pause from the opponent, not gonna lie. Okay, so now the opponent gets to see our hand. So what's the alternative? I pitch one of the other blue cards and I force again. I don't really like that spot. The good thing about where the opponent is right now is they kind of got to an empty hand, so now they can just freely use Bizarre. Instead of when you have force blue card, if the opponent then goes land go, you kind of have to keep it around and dredge slower as a result. Let's see what they take here. I imagine Grim Monolith is what you're supposed to take. Grim Monolith hits the bin. I'm in trouble here. I need like some very good draws to be back in this game. Okay, so let's see. Does it have value to play Metamorph out? I don't think so. I can do that next turn. Let's say I draw like Mox Opal. Then I can go Metamorph or Monolith, Mox Opal, then Outcome. It doesn't save me any mana because this card doesn't untap. It doesn't save me any mana to spend my mana now. A little bit of dredging here. Double Narcomoeba hits the field. Looked like the opponent natural drew one for no reason. Yeah, I think I got off the hook there with one dredger. One dredge. Come on, baby. Mana Crypt does not help me right now, but things can explode if I draw blue mana. Is it worth playing out the Trinisphere? How much damage am I taking next turn? 0 Icarus. Is it worth it to go to 12? Go to 10? No, I'm not going to play this stuff out. Because if I draw Coveted Jewel, I'm going to Metamorph that, so I guess the only upside to playing out Mana Crypt Trinisphere is if I draw something like Island. Then I could draw one more card with Outcome. Yeah, it's not nothing. But also just getting multiple chilled out of nowhere is not a place I want to be. This hand is basically ready to do something broken. Let's see. Opponent goes to draw step. It's one more chill. I'm at 11. Yeah, I don't think I can die this turn, and I think I die next turn with a guarantee. So basically, right now, I'm hoping that I can just use my Ancient Tomb if I get a good draw. Yeah, the opponent's going to have a lot of power here. I'm going to be at 9, then they're going to have infinite power, but 9 is fine. It has to do with my next draw anyway, so. Double Amalgam, and since the opponent gained life from Creeping Chill, also a Cool. Come on, baby. Give me some magic. Tinker is, under normal circumstances, magic, but here, no blue mana, so we have to throw in the towel. That's unfortunate. We had a lot of good draws there, so I guess that's okay. So let's see. We like these 8 cards. Last time I trimmed Duel. I got rid of Karn, All Forces, the Probe, and Sensei's Divining Top. It's just too slow, in my opinion. Okay, let's do it. Let's see if we can have something fast or something hateful. One of the two. The opponent is going to upgrade with like Force of Vigors and potentially Wasteland like the last opponent, but we can't know for sure. Also, we don't know if Creeping Chill stays in the deck. We don't know if Hollow One stays in the deck. We don't know if Grief stays in the deck on the draw. A lot of these things are very player to player dependent. All right, what do we have here? We have a sweet turn 1, the One Ring. I think I'll do that. Oof. So let's go Crypt. Ancient Tomb, take damage. Try and play the One Ring. One has a Force of Will. That happens. I'm not convinced I can beat Force of Vigor this game. So maybe I play out the Sapphire because I want to be a bit better against Grief. I don't want to end up in the same situation where all blue cards in hand, no blue mana. Let's not get Vigored. Okay, we didn't get Vigored, so I have some kind of play. Problem is, the opponent's paws kind of look like they have another force. And that's going to be very hard to beat. In general, Dredge is just the best deck in Vintage when it keeps 7 cards, because the chance that it has 1 or 2 disruption is just so big. Okay, so as I predicted, we got Griefed here, which is fine, right? We played out the Sapphire, so we have some stuff to do no matter what the opponent takes. The opponent's not putting on that much pressure. Only 1 Dredger. It does have the Ichorate Amalgam combo, so I don't expect to have that much time, but I have at least 2 turns. I wonder what the opponent should take here. If you grieve the Time Walk, no, it must be Outcome. Yeah, it must be Outcome. So let's see here if we can do something broken. Even just drawing a random artifact would be awesome. Lost the flip. That is a random artifact, but is it too random? Let's go Time Walk. Take 1,000,000 damage to copy the Crypt. Yeah, now I'm all in on this outcome. But I think that's okay. The circumstances. Again, we play against Force Grief. So we just have to maximize. I can't play around the 3rd one. I think this is a good way to maximize. Wow. What a draw. Let's play Coveted Jewel and see what happens. I hate this pause. This is just... oh my god. Yeah, then it's impossible, right? At that point, it just becomes too hard. The opponent had Force of Will, Grief, and another Force of Will, which is the absolute nuts when you play Dredge against a combo deck. So I think I like my play. Obviously, now we're going to lose to, losing one of the 2 Crypt flips. But I think I like how I played this. I played my best card turn 1, needs to get countered. I got griefed on the outcome. I time walked to, develop harder, make a better outcome. Then I played... That'll do it. The Creeping Chill kills me here. Then I played Paradoxical Outcome, the best one I was setting up to play the best Paradoxical Outcome I could, but I drew a better card. I drew Coveted Jewel. If I resolve Coveted Jewel here, I draw 3 cards. Those aren't very strong. Then I tap my Jewel and my Sapphire, cast Outcome for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I ended up not being able to do anything, but that's still a lot of cards, right? Like, my plan here was to draw Jewel plus Outcome. That's 7 cards. So most of the time you get the job done with those 7 cards. It wouldn't have been the case here, but yeah. I think this was actually a good showcase of why a game like this and the fact that my opponent had 3 interaction cards shouldn't like make you change like how you play the next time you face it, because the average number of disruption for the dredge deck to have is like 1. So if I play like this, I win the vast majority of games. I'm not supposed to change my plan because of a hiccup like this, but yeah, it was actually a great showcase of like what the dredge deck can do at absolute power. And also I kind of fizzled out a few times where it felt like unlosable, like on paper. Oh, you drew 8 cards or 9 cards, whatever it was the other game, and I didn't get there. I kind of had to pass the turn a lot. We also got to see some One Ring chaining against Oath. Just keep improving my number of cards in hand, my mana available, etc. I like that a lot. Yeah, I think this was a decent showcase of the power of this deck, and the downside of this deck just being a deck full of artifacts that can be bad sometimes. Sometimes Lavinia will get you, sometimes Bowmasters will be annoying, but yeah. Coveted Jewel is a tier 1 deck, and if you plan on playing Vintage in the future, you need a plan to beat it. That's just how it is. Okay, that'll do it for today's Vintage video. I'll be back before you know it with some more action. Bye, guys.